If you're finding that sales in your consultancy firm are a bit slow, and you've realized that relying on referrals, networking, and word of mouth will never give you control over the growth of your consulting business, and you've tried to be proactive, posting content, running ads, reaching out, but it still hasn't created consistent leads for you, there's a reason for that. In this video, I'm going to show you the real reason your consulting firm struggles to attract quality leads predictably, and the strategic shift you must make if you want a steady flow of premium consulting clients without cold outreach, without chasing, and without hoping. In my experience, the typical consulting firm suffers from numerous feast-famine cycles throughout the year, and they go from being busy with lots of work to do to looking at where their next client is coming from, and that happens time and time again. And the reason for that is that referrals aren't consistent. We love to get referrals, but there's no telling when they're going to come. You are reliant on clients, you're reliant on other people, your networking partners perhaps, to refer people to you. But if that's your only client acquisition strategy, then you never really have control over the process of growing your firm successfully. And you'll always be wondering, how can we get predictable and consistent new leads into your business to attract the right sort of clients to work with? And if you've realize that referrals aren't enough and you've been exhausted with more and more networking meetings, and ultimately you reach a point where you understand you can't do more networking, and you look to find a better way, and you start to look at social media as an opportunity to put posts, and perhaps you see LinkedIn as your major channel, or maybe it's Facebook or Instagram. There's numerous marketing opportunities and channels that we can find to utilize social media. But if you've done that, if you've looked at what other people are doing, maybe even your networking partners that have talked about what they're doing on social media, and so you start putting up posts maybe once a week, twice a week, or maybe even every day, but you still don't get enough leads from that process, then it's not that you're bad at marketing. It's just that the premise that you're using to base your marketing on is built on a faulty foundation. And you have been taught about marketing the wrong way. Another factor I see for consulting firms is that because most of us have relied on our referral partners to give us leads, we look at the situation of, how do I get more leads as a focus point? When we want to grow our business, when we want more clients, more sales, the question we ask is, how do I get more leads? And I've got to tell you, that is really the wrong question to be asking, because when we're focused on how to get more leads, we tend to focus on tactics. We tend to focus on how to get more sales opportunities. And without the proper strategy in place to bring potential clients into your field, into your sales meetings, then you are going to struggle to convert those clients. So you're going to struggle to convert those leads. And I think part of this process of looking at how to get more leads into a sales meeting, and really that's ultimately what we want. We want to have leads that come into a sales meeting so that we can get more clients. So we're looking at how do we get more leads, but if they're the wrong leads, then they're poor quality clients. And we've got to understand the difference between high quality clients and high quality leads. And poor quality clients and poor quality leads, because we can get both. And that's one of the issues when we go to market proactively and we start to generate leads. But if we're generating the wrong quality leads, if we're generating poor quality leads, we are ending up with poor quality clients that maybe stay with us for a short time and then they decide that it wasn't for them and so they stop, or maybe they actually want the results of what you have to offer, but they make your life difficult and make you work harder than you really need to do the project that you're working on. They don't fulfill their side of the bargain in the process of doing the work for them. So they make it difficult and more costly and less profitable to work with them. So I think one of the legacies we have as being the beneficiaries of referrals is that we, in those situations of referred leads, have sales meetings where there's a level of trust that's already established with the potential client we're talking to. And so they come into a sales meeting already having a level of understanding, a level of knowledge about what we have to offer. And if they're a friend of a past client, or if they've been talking to someone who's been through our process and achieved results previously, then that level of trust is already fairly high, and we don't have to do much work in that sales meeting to convert them, because they really already know what they want. They already know that we can deliver, and it's really just seeing if we're a good fit. So it's very natural for us when we have a referral to invite that person straight into what we call our sales meeting, whether it's a discovery meeting or a strategy session or whatever you like to call that meeting. Ultimately, it's about making the sale and signing that person up to work with us to help them out to get the solution they're looking for. So let's look at marketing generated leads. And typically this is where the process of marketing starts to come apart, because when we are generating our own leads, there's not that same level of trust when they first come across us. And when we bring those marketing generated leads straight into a sales meeting, there's pressure in that sales meeting to try to persuade them and convince them about the value of what we do. And often, even if we go back earlier in our marketing process, the posts we put on LinkedIn or on other social media platforms really falls on deaf ears, or it just doesn't have the impact that it might have if people had a level of trust. Now, all of that activity in our marketing creates a level of interest, perhaps, in what we have to do, but it doesn't create authority if it's not based around a strategy. So the real issue that I see in marketing and getting poor quality leads or people into sales meetings that take a lot of hard work and lead you to have to persuade and convince them that you're the answer to their problems, is that you're trying to get people into a sales call before you've given them a reason to trust you. Now, if we look at the market trends over the last 15 years, even as short a time period as that, and maybe it's even less than that, maybe it's really even over the last 5 years, but let's say 15 years to be on the safe side. Going back 15 years ago, clients relied on referrals to get information about solution providers because they really didn't know where else to look and really didn't have another place to look. But now everything has changed. Today, clients do so much of their research silently online before they ever reach out to a referral partner or to a solution provider. They don't ask, and this goes back to normal human nature. People don't like to ask silly questions, and they don't like to look like they don't know. So it's much easier for people to do their research online than even to go to a friend and say, we've got this problem. Can you tell me how to solve this problem? Or do you know anyone who can fix this problem? Or I know that you've worked with someone who helped you with this problem. People don't like to expose themselves and talk about their problems. So that's the initial challenge that I see, that we are having to deal with a market that now has access to online resources that they never had before. So they'll go online and compare experts. They'll be able to search websites, they'll search LinkedIn, they'll search YouTube, they'll look for solutions to their problems online. Now there's the chat GPTs and the like, the AI solutions that are coming up. So there are so many different options for people to find out answers to their problems. So they're doing their research online, and research shows that it's almost 2/3 of the buyer's journey is conducted online. They're getting through an understanding of their problem and what's involved in the problem. They're discovering potential solutions for their problem, and they're discovering potential providers of those solutions all online before they'll reach out to a salesperson or a professional expert to ask for help. And typically they are looking for thought leadership in those solutions. And often for many people, it's not their first time on the merry-go-round. They have looked for solutions to problems in the past, and they've potentially been let down by the providers of those potential solutions, and they didn't get the results they were looking for. And for whatever reason, they are looking for something that's new and different to solve their problem. So they're looking for a thought leadership answer to their problem. And LinkedIn did a survey about this exact situation and discovered that 92% of buyers of professional services will go with the thought leader in their industry. They'll go with the authority in their industry first. They don't want second rate. They want the best. So clearly they want to buy from the person that they understand, clearly understands them and their problem. So the message is that your future clients are forming their buying decisions long before they ever speak to you. And if you are not visible online in a way that positions you as an authority, then you've got almost no chance of generating leads through your online content. And if that's what's happening to you, if you're posting online and hoping to get leads from that, then the problem for you is not that the content is no good. It's just that it's one part of an ecosystem that you need to have in place. And without the right strategy in place, without building an authority platform and an authority ecosystem, you have very little chance, even if you are the best at what you do, and even if your solution is better than anyone else in your market, unless people can discover that about you online and go through their buyer's journey with you, leading them through that thought leadership process so they see you as the authority, they see you as the number one expert, then you really don't stand a chance. And today you're up against it because there are so many experts putting content online. So if that was the answer to your problems, then everyone would be raking it in. Everyone would be generating so many leads that they wouldn't even bother to put content online anymore because they could just put up a piece of content, get leads, and their client acquisition challenges for the next month or two are over. However, it doesn't work that way. And for most of us, the content we're putting online is really falling on deaf ears, and it's not getting the cut through that we would hope it would get to generate leads for us. So do we stop putting content online? No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that posting ads, doing outreach online, or doing thought leadership content online is just one tactic that really doesn't work on its own. It needs to be part of a strategic approach. We've got to have the right strategy in place to attract our ideal client and get their attention in the first place, and then bring them through that buyer's journey in a way that brings them into a sales meeting where they're almost pre-sold. They're already understanding, just like the referral client that we've got. They already understand what it is we do. They trust us that we can help them, and really just need to see that we're a good fit. The approach that we need to adopt is to create authority positioning content and build that content around a strategy that mirrors their buying strategy. So our marketing strategy must be an exact match fit for our ideal client's buying strategy. So the first step in that process is repositioning yourself from just being another consultant or another thought leader or another content provider to becoming the authority in the market about being able to solve a specific problem. So the real need in our marketing is to be seen as the authority in the market. And authority positioning, what I call strategic authority marketing, is the name of the game. Clients choose consultants based on a real clarity of their message. It's got to show them the level of understanding, the depth of understanding that the consultant has about their situation, about their unique problems that they're suffering, their unique set of circumstances surrounding those problems and their business or their personal situation. And you've got to demonstrate that you have expertise in solving those problems for other people, whether that's been through your own business efforts or your own personal engagements in the past, or from your involvement with clients in previous businesses that you've been associated with, or even the level of understanding and knowledge you have about how true experts deliver results. You must build trust before you enter the conversation on a personal sales level. That's the real message I'm trying to get across. We don't want to enter a sales conversation, or whether you call that your discovery session or strategy session, whatever it is. We do not want to enter that conversation until our potential client trusts us enough to know that we are the expert, we are the authority in that situation. Because if they don't trust us, there's no way that we can make a sale. And I'm sure you've all heard the saying, clients have to know you, like you, and trust you before they'll buy from you. So why think that we can build a level of trust in a sales conversation? Now, there are some people who can do that, and some really excellent salespeople are able to build trust in a single conversation and make a sale. But for most of us consultants who never thought that selling would be a major part of our day job, we're probably not at the level of sales capability as those extremely successful salespeople who can make a one-call close. So we've got to build that level of trust before we have that conversation. Otherwise, we're always going to struggle in selling. We're always going to have difficulty. We're always going to have potential clients saying to us, well, send me your proposal, or can you sharpen your pencil on that? They need to have trust to make our sales conversations much simpler and easier to convert clients into, or to convert those leads into clients. So we've got to really set about our marketing process before the sale to bring a potential client to a sales meeting already pre-sold, trusting us with that, or the fact that we have the solution for them, that we're the authority in the market, we have the best solution, we are the best person or have the best team of people to work with, so that they get real results that they're looking for without having to be convinced or persuaded that we have that opportunity for them. So with authority positioning, we're able to generate more leads, generate better quality leads, have shorter sales cycles because they don't necessarily ask for a proposal, they'll ask for the contract, and their level of price sensitivity drops as well. Because the level of trust in us is high, they're not so worried about our price, and they'll see us as the only real solution for them. And so that puts the power in our hands. We don't have to persuade them by being the lowball price to win the work. They want us to do it. And our authority positioning almost demands that we price at the top of the market. It's a mismatch if we don't do that. That really undermines our authority. If we look like the cheapest one in the market, it will create questions in their mind. So high pricing goes with high authority. Make sure you are capitalizing on that situation when you have built authority positioning. Make sure you're also charging authority positioning level prices. So let me reframe what we're talking about here. And so much of our marketing, we're attempting to generate leads, but leads aren't generated. They are really attracted by our authority. They're attracted to us because we have positioned ourselves as the authority in the market. We have given clients a reason to want to work with us. So it's not about selling a sales meeting and hoping to persuade and convince a potential lead in that sales meeting that we have the solution. We need to have done all of that before we get to the sales meeting, so they're already convinced that we have what they need, and they're already persuaded that we are the authority in the market to be the best solution for them. And it's really about just dotting the I's and crossing the T's and helping them understand that we're a good fit, that we're a good match for each other to get the results that they're looking for. So let me give you another perspective on what I'm talking about here, because as consultants, so much of what we do is not about making sales. It's not about the transaction. It's about what happens as a result of that transaction. We're not looking for more leads or more clients. We're looking for more long-term relationships with those clients. So we need to approach it in a different way than a transactional type sale. Our approach to marketing is much more like a courtship approach than a seduction approach. And I'm sure that if you've seen the typical style marketing, you can understand why I call that a seduction approach. But in consulting, we need to have a courtship approach, which is about slowly and steadily doing the right things to attract people to us so that they want to join together with us in a long-term relationship. You can't force long-term relationships on people. You can't pressure people into wanting to be with you. You have to do the things that make yourself attractive so that the right person wants to be with you. If you can't do that, then there's no foundation for that relationship. So the same goes for us when we're trying to attract our ideal clients. We can't pressure them into becoming a client. We can't force them to drop everything and sign up with us. They have to want to sign up with us. They have to be attracted to what we have to offer, and they have to have a level of desire that causes them to want to enter into a long-term relationship with us. So in our marketing approach, we need to build an ecosystem that is all about attraction. We need to create the assets that attract our potential clients and build trust in us, because big part of that relationship building process is about enhancing and building trust at each step of that journey. So our marketing ecosystem needs to build trust and desire in our clients. I call it a marketing ecosystem because we hear so much about a marketing funnel. And often, if you've learned anything about marketing online, you will have heard that you need to create a marketing funnel. And I've got to tell you that if marketing funnel is in your lexicon and is in your approach, then that approach is really about seduction. It's a seduction mechanism. A funnel really forces people into a strict set of activities that are intended to bring them into a sales meeting to sign up to become a client with you. Now, in theory, that sounds fine, but in reality, each of those steps is about pressure. It's about convincing and persuading. And it's not about building trust. It's about getting a sale. That's the difference. That's the issue I have with a marketing funnel, because the marketing funnel is all about the marketer taking people through a step to lead to a sale. And I've already said that approach really doesn't work when what we want and what our clients want is a long-term relationship that gives them the solutions they're looking for. So a marketing ecosystem is all about providing value in a way that enhances their knowledge of us, their knowledge of our authority, and their level of trust that we have the solution for them. So that's not about a funnel. It's about a choose your own adventure style journey with us. So clients have the option to come in and look at various things that we've created and put online. So it could be our LinkedIn posts, it could be our YouTube videos, it could be our LinkedIn newsletter articles, it could be our podcasts. There are a numerous number of activities that we can be involved in. And it really comes back to understanding your ideal client and their buying journey, how they go about doing their research, what is the best media to develop for them, and educate them about all the things they need to know to end up becoming one of our clients. So think about it in those terms. Think about it in terms of courtship and about a marketing ecosystem that still intentionally brings your client through that buying journey to become a client, but not in a way that they feel pressured or pushed into it. They have their own adventure and they can choose to develop their own pathway to becoming a client. But we need to provide that opportunity for that pathway to be followed. And that's our responsibility as a marketer. Our responsibility as the owner of a consultancy firm. We need to take responsibility to create that pathway and to give people the opportunity to build that relationship with us and to grow in trust before we invite them to a sales meeting. So that approach is the approach that we need to adopt. So I hope that you understand that there are opportunities to generate leads on command. There is a way that you can do that successfully. If you've been struggling to post online and not getting the results you want, this approach is the best way to do it. Now, you're going to want to know the steps involved in that process, but I'm going to show you those in this next video that you can click on the link here to find out what are the steps that we need to go through to build that trust, to build authority, and to build desire in our clients so that they want to become a client in a sales meeting. That's exactly what we'll cover in this next video in this playlist. So click this link here now, and I'll show you how the best consulting firms position themselves so that premium clients come to them, not the other way around.